The hell are you waiting for? You want to spend the rest of your life working for someone else, planning your life around their schedule? Or do you want to get out of your head, stop coming up with excuses, be an adult, live the American dream, or live someone else's American dream? Because when you work for someone else 9 to 5, that's their dream that they've built, and you're just helping them become richer. You're only going to make as much as what your hourly wage allows you to make. Like we've said before, all I have to do is pick up a phone, and I've got more money.
This is the How to Quit Working Show. Jeff Steinman believes entrepreneurship is the only true path to freedom. That's why he created the How to Quit Working Show, where you'll hear stories, insights, and inspiration from lifestyle fanatics who left their soul-sucking 9-to-5 job forever. Now, here's your host, author, entrepreneur, and ultimate lifestyle fanatic, Jeff Steinman.
Hello and welcome to the How to Quit Working Show. We got a couple of really cool things going on today. The first thing I want to start with is I want to start by thanking Heather for taking over the Friday show. I had the pleasure of listening to Friday's show, which was really kind of fun and kind of weird to actually listen to the How to Quit Working Show sort of not knowing exactly what was going to be on there, because there has never before been an episode of the How to Quit Working Show that I was not on. So it was really fun to see that. I think it means so many different things to me. I mean, it means that How to Quit Working is becoming a bigger thing. It's becoming more, well, it's becoming less about me, right? I mean, when you start a business, it's kind of just you and you're running along, and then when other people begin to get involved, it's like, wow, you just really start to feel like you've created something, and that has just been such a pleasure for me to watch that and to see the amazing value that Heather brings. And one of the things that I love so much about having Heather involved with How to Quit Working is that she brings different perspectives, and two particular perspectives that she brings to the table, among, probably hundreds or thousands, but two really important ones I think are, number one, the family aspect, right? I don't have a family, and I know that many of our listeners I don't have like an immediate family. I'm not a primary breadwinner, and I don't have people living with me who I support, right? But many of our listeners do, and that is something that has a huge impact on your business and how you build your business and what you do and all those things. And Heather's able to bring that perspective, and not just bring it half-heartedly. I mean, bring it from the perspective of somebody who has created multiple businesses that are structured to support her family life. And I think that's what so many people want, and she's able to bring that perspective, and I just think it's so useful and so helpful and just really deepens and strengthens what we have here at How to Quit Working. So I'm super excited about that. The other perspective that Heather brings is the kind of the marketing and sales stuff. I mean, that is her real core area of expertise is marketing and sales, which is, by the way, the most important part of any business, and she brings such deep knowledge and depth in that area that is just so extremely valuable. So I'm super excited to have her on. I am excited that she not only knocked it out of the park with an amazing episode on Friday, but also that she is going to continue doing that every single week. And I am not going anywhere, by the way. I'm actually working on a new project that we've got going on here at How to Quit Working that you will hear a little bit more about in the next week or so. So look for more information on that. Really fun, really cool stuff. Now, I also want to remind you before we get started with the meat of today's show that we are doing live training webinars on a regular basis now. If you just go to howtoquitworking.com/webinar, what you'll see is the dates when we're doing these, and you can get registered there and you can get in for this free live training. And it's really some amazing stuff, and we've been hearing great feedback from folks. In fact, if you go to howtoquitworking.com/webinar and then scroll down to the bottom, you can see what people are saying about it. And one of my favorite comments that I've gotten on the webinar is from Sam in Pennsylvania. And he says, if you just do one of the things that is, or just follow one of the pieces of advice on this webinar, it will be worth your time. So hugely valuable, lots of great stuff. What we're talking about on there is how to start a business that actually makes money, right? Not one of these phantom businesses that is just a website that nobody ever actually goes to or buys anything from, but like a real live business that makes money, and just getting past all of the crap and getting right down to what really makes a business successful. Lots of great stuff. Go over to howtoquitworking.com/webinar and get signed up for the next one. Now, we are going to jump into today's topic, which is basically to address one of the questions that I get so frequently, which is this guy, Daniel Vance, who you're always talking about, made $7,750 his first 30 days in business. You're always talking about him, and I want more information about how the heck he did this. Will he come on the show and talk in more detail about this? And I asked him, and he said, yes, I would love to come on and talk in more detail about this. So today we're going to talk to Daniel Vance about his experience with How to Quit Working and how he made $7,750 his first month in business. And pay really close attention to what we talk about in this, because there's some really, really good stuff here. And I think the key thing that Daniel talks about is that now he has the ability to generate money at will. And I think that's the best thing about being an entrepreneur, is developing the ability to generate money at will. And you can't do that until you have a product or a service that you know that people want and that you can deliver. That's what we do in all of our How to Quit Working programs, is we get you to that point where you have a product or service that lets you then say, oh, I need money, so I sell this product or service. It's that simple. I mean, there's a lot to it. Right? And we take you through all that in the How to Quit Working system and our coaching and our programs. But really, that's what it comes down to, is you got to have a product or service that people want, and you got to be able to deliver that. And that's what we're going to talk about in this interview with Daniel, because he definitely has that. So without any further ado, let's go over to the interview with Daniel Vance. Hello, and thanks for joining us. Today, we are here to talk with Daniel Vance about his experience with the How to Quit Working system and going through the How to Quit Working Now program. And we're going to talk to Daniel today about his experience. Daniel, first of all, thank you for joining us here on at How to Quit Working headquarters. We're at How to Quit Working headquarters here in South St. Louis.
Great to be here.
Yeah, great to have you here.
Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, so now you went through the How to Quit Working system and the How to Quit Working program, and used the How to Quit Working system to build a very successful business. In fact, I'll give away the secret. You made $7,750 your first month in business, and that was about eight months ago, right?
Approximately, yeah.
Yeah. What I want to talk about today is kind of your journey, what worked for you, and how you were able to have such phenomenal results. Because a lot of folks just kind of want to know, okay, this is a question that I get a lot. People are like, because I tell your story a lot, and what people say is, okay, I want to hear more from this guy. I want to hear how he actually did this. So that's what we want to talk about today. But let's start with, before you went through the How to Quit Working system, tell us a little bit about where you were, what was going on in your life.
Well, I was I'd been in corporate restaurant America for 16 some years or something like that, and I was at a point where I had finished up schooling. My experience with various levels of management in these restaurants.
So you had a degree in what was it?
Restaurant management.
Restaurant management. Okay.
And I was ready to, make a decent life.
Okay.
And
what did you think was the way to make that life?
Working hard, proving myself, moving up the chain.
Moving up the chain. Okay.
Yep, that's basically what my plan was.
Cool. So what were you doing at the time?
As far as
job-wise,
I was a restaurant manager,
okay.
Working for someone else,
mm-hmm.
Like I always had. Then I came across the How to Quit Working program, and let's see. I started with your online stuff. Mm-hmm. I signed up for the email, went through with the book, purchased your book, read the book and followed along with the online stuff that correlates with the book. And by the time I got probably a third of the way through, I was pumped. And I'm like, okay, this is putting ideas and thoughts in my mind that I couldn't even fathom before. You know, you get so wrapped up in the daily minutia of life that you don't, for whatever reason, you don't think it's possible, or you don't even think about it. You don't even think about the possibilities that lie elsewhere.
So tell us a little bit about the possibilities that you saw that were available that you did not think were available before.
Well, I think what it, I think what I'll say is I really hadn't even thought about owning my own business prior to the How to Quit Working show. I never even thought about, how people fantasize, daydream or whatever. It'd be great to be your own boss.
Everybody has that thought, right? That thought in the back of your head, like, oh, this might be nice someday, but I don't really think it's real. Or like there's in your head, there's like this 5% of possibility, right?
Yeah, if that. It's more of a daydream type of thing. People daydream about crap all the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't even, and for whatever reason, I never made the nexus between the daydream and this is a real possibility. This could be me. And what made it so simple is your program that you've created. And it made it simple to come away from or get away from the mental blocks that you would have.
What kind of mental blocks are you talking about that you had there?
Anything, lots of things, from personal issues to life itself, leading up to the point. I think a lot of it is fear that feeds that roadblock. You have a household, you have a house, you have your cars, all the liabilities in life that you have to pay for.
Yeah.
And I think I don't even think it was a conscious decision or a conscious thought that separated the daydream from the possibility. It was just, for whatever reason, I had been programmed that you don't even think about it. Don't even think about it because it's not possible. But I don't ever. But it sounds kind of weird because I never really consciously thought about it. The possibility being real. I was just always, daydreaming type stuff.
So at some point it went from that little 5% or 1% daydream to being something that you thought, this could really happen. And I know, at what point did you decide that you felt confident enough about it to actually quit your job?
Well,
because I know your business wasn't off the ground when you quit your job, which I think in retrospect is funny and I'm sure very scary at the time. But I'll let you sort of tell that story.
It was just, when the day that I left for the final time, when I came home, I didn't even know that day was going to be the final day. It just happened, I guess. I had spent several weeks, looking at your program. When I really made the decision that I was going to do this, was in the single afternoon that I read your book and was going through your program online. That's when like I said, I also had a third of the way through the book when I had decided, okay, this is a possibility. How can I make it work? I didn't even have a business concept in mind when I decided I'm going to work for myself. So, and I'm, it was weeks down the road when a concept actually came into vision.
So take us back to that moment when not only did you decide, but you took the committed action of actually leaving your job. Again,
it was a whirlwind, I guess. Everything happened all at once. There wasn't, again, no conscious decisions. It just happened. It's just one of those things that you just let happen when it happens, I guess. I think for some people it's a little more controlled. I know there was a point, I would say the month leading up to the point in which I was ready to leave. I had just, once the concept came into vision and I had been planning it out the weeks leading up to it, I knew it was coming, I just didn't know when, and when it happened, it just happened.
Okay. So, and I think you've told me the story before, kind of like you were sitting in your car and you said, what the hell am I waiting for?
You know, after I was unemployed and I was sitting out in my car and I'm thinking...
This is after you quit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What the hell am I going to do? I started, I called my fiance, we're not going to rehash that conversation. And then I'm like, and I'm sitting in the car feeling overwhelmed and like, I need a drink. But you know what? It was like, just all of a sudden a light, I know this shit. This is what I've been doing all my working life. I have formal education in it. All kinds of leadership management courses, symposiums, workshops that I've been to, all different specialized training for all the different areas of the restaurant industry, from quality assurance to food safety to guest service to marketing, promotions. I knew the business. And I told myself, you know what? I know this shit. Let's go.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think what's so interesting about your situation is, like, a lot of people think about, well, what would I do in my business? What would my business look like? You knew the general area that it was going to be, right? And you knew that you knew how to make it. Now, you said that you were a restaurant manager, but the one thing that I think maybe you're just being a little bit modest about is that you held a position in the company where you actually went around and fixed failing restaurants. Right, so when restaurants were in really bad shape, you would go in there and you would make the staffing changes, the marketing changes, the process changes, whatever needed to be fixed to make it work, right? So that's something that you were doing, and you knew that was something that was of value to people. You knew that there was something that fixing a restaurant that's not working is a valuable service, right? A lot of people need that.
Absolutely.
And you had that piece of value, and the piece that you needed to make it into a business was, okay, how do I actually go out there and get clients? How do I actually find people that would actually want to hire me for this? Because I know I can get the results. I just need to find people. And I think that's where the How to Quit Working program kind of filled in the gap for you. So the big question that everybody always wants to know, and this is, I ask all of my guests this on the How to Quit Working show, is how did you get clients? That's what everybody wants to know.
Well, I knew starting a business, obviously, I was going to need a customer base. I knew I was going to have to sell something.
Leads, yeah.
So
it's the oxygen of a business,
right?
Yeah.
So when I told myself, this is my business, I know this, let's do it. I knew the business that I wanted to start was restaurant and bar consulting, and then also offering, other revenue generating avenues, the QA, that kind of stuff. But I knew there would be a market. There are a ton of what we call local food restaurants, independently owned restaurants that don't have a district manager or a QA auditor to answer to. The only people they answer to are once a year health inspections, and we all know those are basically a joke. Okay. So
it's scary, but okay.
That's the truth of it. So we know, or I knew, that restaurant owners would crave my service once I proved to them that there would be a value there. So basically, how I generate my leads, and it's great. My situation is very unique because all I have to do is pull up Yelp or pull up the Yellow Pages or go do an internet search, and I can find 100 restaurants within a 10 square mile radius.
And their phone numbers and their websites,
The
their
owners.
address, the owner's name. You can probably use public records to find the owner's name.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can use Yelp, OpenTable, Urban Spoon, Facebook, which to get all the information I need as far as what customers think about the place. And based on what I see on social media, what people that have been there are saying about the business, I can go during what should be peak times, and I can do an operational assessment from the sidelines.
So that's just where you go in and you just see, how does this company or this restaurant operate from a customer's perspective?
Right. So basically I start with either a phone book or whatever that avenue is to find the restaurant. Then I go to social media, read about it, see how well they're doing or how well they're not doing. I go, I look, and then I either approach them in person and say, look, this is what you're screwing up on. This is where you're at. This is where you can be. And I think initially initially how I got my first set of clients was just cold calling from the phone book.
And I want to talk a little bit about that, because I want to talk about the circumstances under which you began cold calling, because that is a word that sounds like waterboarding, torture to a lot of people. They hear cold calling, but the circumstances under which you began the cold calling was, if I remember correctly, was when you had already left and the rent was due. The car payment was due.
Everything.
You hadn't really gotten this thing off the ground yet, and you needed to do something. And as I recall, we had a conversation, and I believe my advice to you was pick up the phone.
Right.
And so you made some phone calls, and I think it's just a matter of, you just got to find where these people are that need what you have to offer. In your case, I think it's easier than most, right?
Right.
But you just find where these people are, and you just pick up the phone. Tell us a little bit about how did that process of picking up the phone and calling these people you'd never met before, and you knew there was a good chance they were going to tell you to go to hell, and I'm sure some of them did, or maybe say something else to you, or just not answer the phone or whatever. How did that feel? How did that work?
Well, and I really wish I would have recorded some of these calls, because I'm pretty hot-headed myself. I'm very opinionated, strong-headed, whatever you want to call it. So I don't give a damn what people think or say. So when I pick up the phone and I call someone, I don't know them from Jack. They don't know me from Jack. I'm never going to meet them if they tell me no or go to hell or screw off. So I just didn't care. I just picked up the phone and I called. And I said, this is who I am. This is what I'm offering. I've been to your place. I've looked on social media. I see what you're doing, what you're not doing. This is what I can offer you. Let's go. So, and it's great. There's this business that I've chose offers some very unique advantages, because I'm offering a service that I already know they need. I already know they need this service to become more profitable before even generating more revenue. Because I go in and I can tell whether someone is a detail-oriented person or not just by watching them. Very perceptive on that type of thing, and I can tell if someone's organized or not. And if they're organized, they might have a good handle on their numbers. If not, then if they seem like a disheveled, airheaded type of a person, I know their numbers. They probably don't even know what food cost means, much less know the actual number. So I go in, and before I even say let's build you some more revenue, my initial pitch is, we can make you more money today. You can put more. Your deposit can be greatly improved just today, before we even start anything else, just by getting an idea of what your food costs, what your labor costs, what your beverage costs are, and getting them under control.
So the first thing that you tell a restaurant owner is, okay, this is what you're bringing in with your current customer base. This is what it's costing you. It might be up here. It might, hopefully it's down here. But your initial pitch is, let's start by lowering this just by looking at that, right? So you bring that down, hopefully there, and then what's the next thing that you do with these two lines?
Well, after we talk about the revenue acceleration, the profit optimization, then we start talking about the revenue acceleration.
So making this line go up. And,
exactly.
And I think the key thing there is that when you approach these people, you're not approaching them from a standpoint of, do you want to buy my product? You're approaching, or do you want to pay me for my consulting? You're approaching them from a standpoint of, do you want this line to go, or this line to go down and this line to go up? In other words, do you want to make more money? And that's the value proposition that you're laying on the table. And I think that's why you have had so much success so quickly, is because you go in and you talk to a prospect, whether you call them up, and I know you're getting leads through referrals now, but however it is that you get these in front of your client, you're approaching them and saying, look, I am here to help you make this gap wider between what you bring in and what you have to pay out. I'm here to help you make more money.
It's a unique selling point, and I've figured out it's the dagger in the dragon's heart every time. When I go in and I say, look, here's your revenues now. Here's where you're at. Here's what your costs are. And always, a restaurant owner's talking about margins. They're spewing about margins. They're talking about how to make a margin better on whatever it is they're selling. And my question is, why the hell are you talking about margins? You don't even have your costs under control. You're not experiencing any margin on anything you're selling, because you're the big three. Your first three big costs are here before you pay any of your other bills. So we get those three in line. Now all of a sudden you have a margin. Now we have something to work with. And then once we get that under control and you're experiencing a margin, then we can get more people in the door.
So I think that's such a good lesson for anybody, is that when you're, well, and I think we talk a lot about the idea mentality, and it's this, I got this great business idea, right? Before we started this, we were just brainstorming something, because it's fun. It's fun to just think up business ideas, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you got to realize that it is just that. It's fun, and it's entertainment. Right. And just like, you might go do something else for entertainment, thinking up business ideas is entertainment. What is real business is going out and figuring out, where are these problems, so that I can approach someone and say, look, you've got this problem, I've got this solution. Can we put them together?
Exactly. And I'll say this too. I say I have a very unique situation as far as the business that I've chosen to go into, because I know what my client needs are before I can approach them. You can do that with any industry. Just know the industry. Know what you're doing. Know the service or product or whatever it is you're offering, and know how it fills a need for your client, for your customer, for your client, for your guest, whatever it is. Know exactly how you can make their life better, how you can make them richer.
Yeah. So, well, and I think that was a real key advantage that you had, in that you knew the industry, you had worked in the industry, so you knew where is it that restaurant owners where are they focused, and it's about making money, obviously, and but I think, like you said, you can figure that out for anything, right? So if you're in some different industry, maybe it's graphic design, or maybe you're a legal assistant, or parenting coach, or whatever it might be, you can figure out what it is that your potential customer really wants. What do they really want? And then key in on that thing.
And I think, and for people that are looking for a way to get out of the 9-to-5 stuff every day, they want a business, they want to be their own boss, they want to make money, they don't know what the hell they're going to do. Don't be afraid to research the industry that you're in. If you have a process or a product that can make the industry that you're in better, or if you can even market it and package it in a way that looks or seems like it's better, something to give you traction, look at what you're already doing and then, go into it and make some money at it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so tell us a little bit about what is it like now? What is it like at this point? You have this successful business. You know that if you need money, you just pick up the phone
right.
and you generate it. I mean, that's
Exactly.
one of the things that's so great about having a business is like, and particularly when you've got it dialed in, as you have done in only about 8 months, which I think is just amazing, and a testament to the fact that of how quickly you can grow a business when you have that solid idea that you know that people want. It's just, you just put gas in it. In your case, putting gas in it is just picking up the damn phone and calling some restaurants. But tell us a little bit about what is it like now that you have that freedom and that ability to generate money sort of at will?
Well, you said it, freedom. I mean, I do what I want when I want. Mm-hmm. My schedule, my daily life is not centered around what my boss has decided what my schedule is going to be for the next 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. The freedom that I've lived in the last 8 months has been greater than anything I've experienced. I'm not on someone else's schedule. Mm-hmm. If you think about it, if you're a 9-to-5er, you know that you have to go to bed at a certain time tonight to get up for work in the morning. Mm-hmm. To be able to go to bed at this specific time to get enough sleep to get up for work in the morning, you have to have laundry done by this time. You have to have dinner cooked by this time. To be able to do dinner and laundry, you got to have this activity planned with the family for this time. Everything you do on a day-to-day basis, year in and year out, is centered around what your boss has told you your schedule is going to be for the next 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So you plan your life 2 weeks at a time because you don't know what your schedule is going to be for that 3rd week, for the 4th week, for the 6th month down the road, for the 12th month down the road. You don't know what it's going to be. So you don't have the freedom to plan your life as you see fit. Yeah. Whereas I have had that luxury to be off when I want to be off for the things that I want to do. If something comes up with family or friends or this or that, I can move this meeting to tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I can put off finishing this report for a couple hours or tomorrow morning. I don't have to do something for someone else anymore.
I think it's like everything shifts, right? Because what you want and the things that are important to you, whether that's family activities or activities with friends or something you want to do, that is at the center, and everything else is kind of worked around that. And I think the other thing that you really haven't talked about is the fact that you really kind of enjoy what you're doing.
I love what I do, yeah.
So even when you're doing it, right, it doesn't feel like work. In fact, Heather, the How to Quit Working coach, and I have been talking about, like, we just need to get rid of the word work, right? Because it has such a negative connotation, right? And it's all about going and doing something that you don't want to do. And really, when you've built a life like you have, there isn't really such thing as work, quote unquote, anymore, right?
I don't think I've used that word really much. If someone shoots me a text or an email or a phone call or finding out to inquire what I'm doing, I don't say work.
Yeah.
I'll say I've got to be at 6:12 this evening, or I've got to finish up this audit, or I've got to do this.
Tell us about what's next.
I guess whatever I wake up and decide to do tomorrow.
You got a lot of opportunity on the table right now. You're being modest. So tell us about kind of what's going on right now.
Well, I have a unique problem, I guess. A problem that plenty of people would love to have.
You have a wonderful problem.
I am looking at opening a restaurant of my own.
Mm-hmm.
Put a bullet in my head now, please. But I'm looking at opening a restaurant of my own, and the reputation that I have built has afforded me the opportunity to pick and choose investors. Mm-hmm. I have 2 serious investors knocking at the door, and I just got to decide what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I have the opportunity to decide what type of restaurant. They're giving me a very wide latitude.
Mm.
So far anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know the money man is going to start barking eventually. But the concept, the
mm-hmm.
idea, the vision has been largely left up to me. Location, menu, the complete vision, everything that goes along with the vision has been left to me. So now I have to decide if that's what I want to do. Number one
mm-hmm.
is open a restaurant.
Well, now, and this is what I want to talk about. So you've got a consulting business that's doing really well,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a machine. And we've talked about, what's your next step to really grow it, right? Because you've got some options there.
Yeah.
And I think, and you have another opportunity on the table that's a great opportunity, but what's shifted about your entire situation is that now you're not looking at it from a standpoint of I gotta do this, I gotta do that. How am I gonna make money? It's which of these options am I gonna choose? And what's driving, you can be a millionaire either way. You can become a millionaire in the restaurant industry, owning restaurants or consulting. I think you've also recognized that you probably don't want to do both, because that sounds like a nightmare of a schedule.
It would be impossible.
Okay, so because they're both a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
One more so than the other, but yeah.
But now you're making this decision based upon lifestyle.
Exactly. Never before has lifestyle freedom come in to the decision-making process.
Yeah.
Before, it was, how many hours is this person going to give me? How many hours can I work for this company in a week?
Mm-hmm.
How much overtime are they going to give me?
Mm-hmm.
How much money can I make per hour? And my life came second. My life planning came behind what they were offering me, what they were going to allow me to do for them.
Yeah.
Now, I can decide, is this the business I want to do? If I do, I've got to figure out how to scale it.
Yeah.
I've got to come up with a plan as far as that goes. Or do I want to go in this other direction? Do I want to go into the restaurant business? Or I've even had, there's all kinds of crap running through my mind. And it's like, and the thing that excites me the most about the restaurant industry is providing an experience. I love to see reactions on people's faces when I'm telling them about a menu item or a drink.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't strive to get a reaction just from presenting the food.
Mm. I
have figured out ways to get reactions just from the description of the item. I can get reactions on people's faces just by describing the menu item to them, whether it's the drink or the food or whatever it is.
Mm.
That is pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
When you can get a physiological reaction just from describing to someone something. And then when you present it, when they see it and they smell it, that reaction that you're able to give someone, mm-hmm. that experience that you provided for someone is amazing. Mm-hmm. That feeling is amazing. Mm-hmm. So I've thought about, if I do continue with the in the consulting, and I decide not to go the restaurant path, I've had this crazy idea about, catering, banquets. The point being, there's an avenue.
There's a lot of options in lifestyle, and the thing that gets you excited are the decision points, right? Mm-hmm. It's all about figuring out, how do I structure this in a way that
I'm going to love and that I'm going to really enjoy. And it's such an exciting position to be in, and to be in that position so extremely quickly after having left full-time employment, I think is amazing. We're coming up on time, but before we wrap it up, tell our folks listening, what would you tell somebody who is in a full-time job and they're thinking about potentially joining the How to Quit Working program or doing some coaching with us? What would you tell them?
Tell you waiting for. You want to spend the rest of your life working for someone else, planning your life around their schedule? Or do you want to get out of your head, stop coming up with excuses, be an adult, and do what it takes to provide for your family? Live the American dream or live someone else's American dream. Because when you work for someone else 9 to 5, that's their dream that they've built, and you're just helping them become richer. You're only going to make as much as what your hourly wage allows you to make. Like we've said before, all I have to do is pick up a phone, and I've got more money. So you want to live in the mobile home working for someone else the rest of your life? Or you want to go live in the $1 million mansion over in Beverly Hills? And you can do that. And it's not facetious to think it. It's not unreasonable.
Right. Because the limits are gone.
Absolutely.
Right. It's not, and I think I'm going to borrow a quote of yours that you said a while back, I think on Facebook, but you said, when you work for somebody else, their sky is the limit.
Absolutely. Their sky is always going to be your limit. What they want you to do, how far they want you to go, is as far as you're ever going to go. No matter how hard you prove yourself or work, we all know it. We've been there. We've experienced it. The person that's less deserving always gets the promotion. Whoever has their nose buried up the boss's ass the deepest gets the promotion.
Yeah.
When you do what you want to do, when you're making your own money, you don't have to worry about any of that. Another little tidbit would be kind of off subject a little bit, but don't be afraid of failure. You have to, if you don't expect failure, then you've already failed. You've got to expect to fail. You've got to expect to have ideas not work. Don't get your heart set on anything. Nothing. Especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because nothing that you come up with in the beginning is going to work. Nothing.
Right. And I think the great thing about the How to Quit Working system is we give you ways to identify and test those ideas really quickly and really inexpensively so that you can have those failures in a safe way and in a controlled way and without spending a lot of money or time.
Well, yeah, exactly. And what I love about the How to Quit Working program, you join, and along with joining this program, you have access to a community through social media where you have years and years and years of experience. People that's been in it. Through one of the communities on How to Quit Working, I've had communications and conversations with the founder and CEO of Jelly Belly Jelly Beans.
Absolutely.
And he's not, there's been others, people that have founded companies, been very successful in what they do. So, where else can you get access to that kind of experience, that kind of success?
Yeah.
And just don't get your heart set on stuff. Ideas is a big ball of shit in your hand. You got to throw it at the wall. Whatever splatters, whatever people love the smell of, then go in that direction and be willing to still ever change.
Absolutely.
Just be willing to change. That's the number one thing. Just change.
Be willing to change. That's a great piece of advice and a great way to wrap it up. Daniel, I wish you the best of luck. I congratulate you on all the success that you've had, and I am excited to see what you do next and where you go next.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, if the idea of having a product or service that people want and knowing how to sell it and how to deliver it, whatever that product or service is, if that's appealing to you, in other words, as Daniel put it, being able to just pick up the phone and generate money, well, then you probably should contact Heather about How to Quit Working coaching, because that's what we do. We take you through a proven system. We take you through the exact same system that Daniel went through to get the phenomenal results that he got. And you just have to do it. I mean, if you can imagine Daniel's big on taking action, and that's why he's been so successful. He just took action. He took the action to join the program. He took the action to pick up the phone and make the call. He took the action to identify and understand his market and figure out what those people really wanted and needed that he could provide to them. But if you are serious and you want to get started and you want to have that success and you want to go through the exact same process that Daniel went through, go to howtoquitworking.com/coaching. Reach out to Heather and get more information about How to Quit Working coaching. Again, it's howtoquitworking.com/coaching. Head over there and get more information. Schedule your session with Heather today, and that way you can quit working and have the amazing life that Daniel now enjoys. And until next time,
thanks for joining us on the How to Quit Working show. Tune in next time when we'll talk to another amazing person just like you who is now living the ultimate life of freedom and doing it on their terms. If you want to learn how to quit working and get these episodes delivered directly to you, visit howtoquitworkingshow.com.